Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's a really exciting video for me because it's kind of something I came up with like yesterday, today, I don't know. But I want to start a new makeup challenge. And basically the idea that I have is kind of the multitasking makeup challenge, where I want to challenge as many beauty YouTubers as possible to get as much range out of a product as they can. So the main point is basically that you cannot use any product for just one thing. Now there's only one thing that I cannot find an alternate use to in my video, which I will get into obviously. But besides that, I have at least 2 to 3 uses for everything that I'm using, and I'm also not using any brush or beauty tool for just one thing either. So I'm really excited to get into it. I hope that it turns out kind of well. I hope to kind of show you that you don't need to use 20 plus products in one face of makeup, which I am definitely guilty of. And maybe this is a way that maybe if you're packing to travel somewhere for a while, you can really bring a very bare minimum. I think I have something like 7 or 8 products in front of me, and I have a full face of makeup waiting to go on. So let's see how this goes and let's get into the video. So to start off, to prime, I'm going to use the Maybelline Poreless Face Defender, which a lot of people don't use this as a primer necessarily, but that's what I'm going to start off using it as. And it's obviously just a clear balm, and it's kind of silky to the touch, but it's not like sticky or anything. And I'm just going to take my Morphe Highlight and Contour Sponge and just dab into it a little bit and press this on the places where I have a little bit larger pores. And this definitely helps smooth things over and sort of fill in any lines and pores that you might have. I almost forgot. Have to put the cat ears in. Aren't these cute? I got them from Forever 21 for like $5, but they don't show, but it helps. Now the only product that I can't find an alternate use for is a liquid foundation. I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD today because it's my perfect match right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start applying this, but I did want to say that if you're in the summer months and you don't want to go and invest in another concealer, or you don't want to have to pack a concealer or something like that, I have actually used my winter shade of foundation before as my concealer. I pulled it out just to show you, but I have the Revlon Colorstay in 150 Buff, which is honestly way too light for me. It does oxidize a little, but it only matches me in the winter. But if you're like super on a budget and you can't afford to get like another concealer for the summer, that might be a good alternative, is to use a foundation that's too light for you, because you'll definitely be getting a total bang out of your buck and you won't have something just sitting there for months. So my foundation is on. I'm going to go in with the Rimmel Kate Moss Nudes Collection lipstick in the shade 44. I'm actually going to use this as a corrector under my eyes. This isn't an unheard of tactic in the makeup world to use lipstick as a corrector. I know probably a couple years ago now that everybody was trying to use red lipstick, and again I'm using the Morphe sponge to just blend that out. But no, I wouldn't use red if you have a lighter skin tone. It's a little bit too harsh, so I'm using a little bit of a peachy or pinker shade. For concealer, I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Better Skin Concealer. And my alternate use for this is kind of a cheat, but I'm going to use this as kind of my eyeshadow primer. So as I blend this out, I'm going to blend it onto my eyelid as well. And that will act as my eyeshadow primer once I set it with a powder. So before I powder my face at all, I'm actually going to go back in with that lipstick and I'm going to use it as a cream blush. I'm going to dab it right where I usually apply my blush. I'm going to use the same sponge I've been using and kind of just grab it like this and pinch it. So I'm going to use this edge and blend that out. I really recommend using a creamier lipstick if you're going to use it as a corrector or as a blush. Because if you're using something that's more matte, it's going to be a little bit harder to blend. So to set my under eye, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. contour palette. In this palette, I do have a shade from their light blush palette, but I'm not going to touch that for this challenge. But I am going to use the light kind of banana shade to set my under eye. I'm still using my sponge. I really like using setting powder with a wet sponge. I like how it melts the product into the skin a lot better. I'm going to set my nose area a little bit as well. And to set the rest of my face, I'm still going to use the Maybelline Poreless Face Defender, and I'm going to set the rest of my face with that. I really like the job that this does to actually set the face. I feel like it definitely smooths everything over again, And I like that it actually helps my forehead from creasing. I have a really bad problem with creasing on my forehead, and this helps keep everything from doing that. And I'm actually finally done using that sponge, so I'm kind of cheating. I won't be using this shade again for anything except setting my under eye. You can also use it to set your face, or you can use your face powder to set your under eye. I feel like a lot of YouTubers always have separate powders. I don't think that's always necessary, especially for an everyday person. But I will be using the contour and the bronzer shades for things other than bronzer and contour. I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques Multitasker brush, and I'm going to use the bronzer as a bronzer. If you are multitasking brushes for a look, I think it's really important to move from matte to shimmer colors if you're combining those on one brush. I'm going to show you a couple different ways I'm going to use this brush and another brush with both matte and shimmer shades. So for contour, I'm using a fan brush. This is the Morphe M310, and I'm actually going to go into the contour shade with this brush. And this is a clean brush, and I haven't used it for highlight before. I'm actually going to use it to contour. This is actually a tip I picked up from Nikki Tutorials. And then for my nose contour, I'm using the e.l.f. blending brush in the same contour shade. I'm not a big nose contour person, but I do like to add some definition back into my nose. I'm just blending that out a little bit with my sponge. And for blush, I'm using this little sample shade of the Tarte Party Blush. You can get this in your birthday present at Sephora this year. I'm going to use the same multitasker brush. I don't think you necessarily need to go in with a powder blush if you use the cream blush, but this is just a preference of mine to make it a little bit longer wearing. And for highlight, I'm using the new Wet n Wild highlighting bar and this is from their new Mermaid collection. And I'm using the fan brush that I used for my contour. I really like the tone of this highlight. It's a really interesting kind of dirty gold tone. I was really scared to pick it up, but I knew it was limited edition, so I really wanted to. And I do not regret it. And I'm going to move on to the eyes. I'm going to go into the bronzer shade I used with my e.l.f. blending brush and take that into my crease. And I'm going to go ahead and go back in with the contour shade and do the same thing, but keep it a little bit lower. And I want a little bit more rosy tone in my eye look, so I'm actually going to go in, I'm holding so much right now, but I'm going to go in with that blush that I use as well. And I'm going to keep this sort of on my outer V area, but blend it up. And since I'm done with all the matte shades on this brush, I'm going to go in again with a highlight, and I'm going to pick it up with the same brush and kind of pick up a heavy amount of it. And I'm going to wet the brush a little bit with some Fix Plus. And I'm going to go ahead and go on my lid and my inner corner with this. And this shade, if you wet it and use it on your lid, is really, really stunning. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so you can see. It kind of has a green sort of shift to it. And I kind of am dusting off this shade because I kind of want to build up the outer V a little bit more, so I'm dusting it off. I'm going to go back in with the contour shade. For my lower lash line, I honestly could use the blending brush again if I wanted, but I'm going to go in with the contour and bronzer shade and go in with an angled brush. This is from Colourpop. It's actually really uncomfortable using an angled brush as a lower lash line brush, but that's okay. You know, live and you learn. Okay, I'm going to go in with the bronzer shade with that e.l.f. brush and go in and do that. And sort of trick my way into using this more than a couple times. I'm going to go back in with the highlight and sort of drag it here. And for brows, I'm using my trusty NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe. Okay, eyebrows are on, and my second use for this is actually going to be to fill in my beauty mark a little bit that I covered up with foundation and just add some fake freckles. I believe it was in my recent Chit Chat Get Ready With Me where I used a pointed eyeliner brush to do the fake freckles with some eyeshadow. I don't think that you necessarily need to do that. I think that you can really just use your eyebrow pencil. I'm going to run this on my lower lash line a little bit as well. I don't know if that did anything, but I'm just experimenting. And the final product I'm featuring is mascara. It's a black mascara. I'm first going to use this as eyeliner. I'm going to go back in with that angled eyeliner brush and I'm going to dip it into my mascara and actually use it as a gel eyeliner. This isn't really anything revolutionary. I've seen it done before, but it's still multi-tasking your products. So the mascara isn't as pigmented as I want it to be, but since I already used that mascara and I don't want to try and move into another one, I'm just going to actually smudge out the eyeliner a little bit and make it a little bit smoky. It's just sort of like a gray winged eyeliner now. Please don't clock me on my winged eyeliner. This is not a makeup tutorial by any means. The one thing about using mascara as eyeliner is that it's really easy to wipe away if you let it dry, and because I took my wing a little bit too far and I was able to wipe it away pretty easily. I think the key about getting this to work really well as eyeliner is getting a really pigmented mascara. I'm using a Covergirl one, so I think that might be an issue, but I think a higher end might be a little bit more pigmented. Let's not talk about my winged eyeliner. I'm moving on to mascara for the last part. To kind of cheat and use Fix Plus again instead of foiling my eyeshadow, I'm just going to use Fix Plus and then I'll add mascara and I'll be right back. Real quick, can I show you? My friend made me this mug. It says, "Bitch, you better work." I love it. She works at an engraving place and she wanted something cute for my videos and I love her. I just realized the only tool I can't multi-use is an eyelash curler. If I find out something, I'll let you know. I don't think that's happening. I actually really like the lighter winged eyeliner with the mascara because I couldn't multi-use false eyelashes. I just couldn't come up with a way to do that. But I like that the eyeliner is lighter because it doesn't kind of take away from my eyelashes. And for the final touch, I'm going to go back in with the lipstick that I used as a lipstick, or no. I'm going to go back in with the lipstick that I used as a corrector and a cream blush. Alright everybody, that's it for this multitasking makeup challenge. If you guys do try the challenge, please tweet your video links at me at Stephanieo2000. I'd really like to see you do it. I want to see what other tips you have and what other products that you find other uses for. Maybe even use less brushes or less products. I actually just counted everything up and I actually used a total of 9 products and 4 brushes and a sponge. Usually I use a lot more brushes. I actually counted, I do more than 20 products for a full face of makeup. So this is pretty good. Again, please tweet at your favorite beauty YouTubers, try and get them to do this challenge. Do this challenge yourself. Tell me how it worked for you. I'd really like to see your results. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you do like my channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!